One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to One Question, where we highlight executive leaders in college athletics. Our guest today is David Wright. David is the Assistant Vice President and Development Officer at Gettysburg College. Greetings, David. Thanks for joining us.
Greetings, Ty, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Well, David, I bring you on here because in your current role, you hold a unique position in terms of athletics and within the campus. Your position reports through Enrollment and Education Services Division there at Gettysburg. You're over a number of things, involved with a number of things like admissions, marketing, communication, of course, athletics and development. How have those responsibilities proven to be a benefit to your role in athletics and the athletics department as a whole? And I guess the same question vice versa. How has athletics been a benefit to the positions that you currently hold?
Sure. So at Gettysburg College, the athletic department has been a member of or reported up through what we call Enrollment and Educational Services Division. As you mentioned, the vice president of that division has oversight of athletics and campus recreation, as well as admissions, financial aid, marketing and communications, and institutional analysis. So that in and of itself is certainly unique. You don't find a lot of colleges or universities that have that kind of a reporting structure for athletics. But we have found here that it works quite nicely. It was actually Barbara Fritz, who is the current vice president in that division, who had the brainchild of saying, our coaches are excellent recruiters of students already. Our admissions office and the counselors that work there do similar work, and although it's not exactly the same, there's so many parallels that maybe they should be formulated in the same divisions and have a great deal of transparency back and forth, so that coaches understand the world of enrollment and the enrollment drivers understand the world of athletics. So that relationship has worked quite well, and I think it's been of great benefit to Gettysburg College. We certainly see that our coaches help to enroll almost 25% of every incoming first-year class, and having the relationship that we have with the admissions office, our coaches are able to recruit at a very high level because they are finding those students that are going to fit the Gettysburg kind of student model right from the get-go, and they don't have to wonder, well, geez, I wonder if this student's academics are strong enough, or other issues around their application and their interest in the college. And so having that great transparency, I think, has been of great benefit, and knowing how the enrollment process works for our coaches, they've when we do retreats together, for example, they have sat in on what it's like to be part of an admissions committee making decisions on students when it gets down to the very end. So they see the struggle where you have talent in different ways. You have a musician, you have an athlete, you have someone who's had incredible leadership experience. They're an entrepreneur in high school, and the admissions office is trying to make a decision. They can only take one or two of these 5 or 6 great candidates, so they have an appreciation of how that process works as well. So it's been of great benefit.
Right, and it sounds like a synergy from A to Z, with the coaches seeing that process, which helps them in their mind when they go out and recruit. It's not a battle against admissions because we are actually a part of admissions.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and we see it as more of a win-win situation. The coaches feel as though they're able to recruit at a high level, and our admissions office appreciates the work that goes into it for the athletic department, which in essence is really for the institution as a whole.
Right. Well, another role you play there at Gettysburg College is as a development officer. Can you talk a little bit about how that plays into everything you just mentioned in terms of your coaches, alumni, and the role you play on campus and athletics?
Yeah, sure. So, I see my role in athletics as being one to connect former student athletes, back to their alma mater. It's always been something that's been important for us as an institution and then me professionally, and something I've really enjoyed. When I was a coach, I enjoyed going out and recruiting and, meeting people and encouraging them to take a strong, hard look at Gettysburg. And in my role as first director of athletics and now as an assistant VP, I make those connections for our alumni, which is also a great experience for me. And quite frankly, I've been at the institution now for 32 years, and so just at my long tenure, I know a lot of people, obviously, and really this role came to be with the official piece within my title of development officer. It started when we were in the process of fundraising for a $27 million addition and renovation of our athletic and recreation center.
Wow.
And when we were doing that, we were finding a great deal of success by going out and seeing our former student athletes wherever they lived, and not just asking them to come back and see us, but I actually got on the road for a few years with our development division here at Gettysburg College and started to really make some great connections and relationship building. And from that, we were able to raise more money from a dollar perspective and a higher percentage than any other fundraising major capital project that Gettysburg had ever done. So again, I think it made sense to make that an official piece of my title, because I was able to then spend time with our institutional advancement division and really get to see the inner workings of how they work. And then we have a athletics fundraiser, a designated person that comes out of institutional advancement, and they're invited into all of our world over here in athletics. So again, the synergy you talked about and finding win-win opportunities. Now these two divisions, we're getting to know each other, and again, we broke down the walls, and so looked behind the curtains and said, oh, so that's how you do your work. Why should we hide from each other? Or live in a silo. Instead, let's break all those walls down, and let's find the best person who has the best relationship with that alum that we would love to see them step up and donate at a large level. Then who's the best person to do that type of work? And so again, it's been of great benefit for the institution, a lot of win-wins that we've found, and I think more and more, I've talked to a lot of people about this. Academic Impressions has had myself and our athletic fundraiser. We've done a couple of webinars for them, and we started with one, and then they wrote us back a month later and said there was such great interest in the last one. How about doing it again? So, I think the more and more people who think about it, it really is a smart idea for a college or university to involve themselves with each other's work.
And David, that brings me to my next question. This unique combination of responsibilities seems to be beneficial. And since you've been there, Gettysburg seems to have created a fusion that would most likely be a benefit to other institutions. If you were to become president or make a recommendation to a president, would you suggest this type of setup?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Ty. I think that, if I were president of the institution, first of all, in higher education, we're all very quick to build the walls of our own silo up around us. We don't do it on purpose, but the budgets are getting tighter, and the outside world is looking in and saying, why is higher education so expensive? And it's a lot of skeptical people right now, and even internal to what we all do on a daily basis. We're all fighting to do the best we can. I think that leadership needs to break down those walls, needs to break down the silos, and need to understand that the synergy that can happen between not only departments, but literally these divisions, the academic side to the co-curricular side to the student affairs and we've worked really hard here at Gettysburg to intertwine all of these different areas because so many of us have ideas, we have different talents, and it's kind of the idea of being inclusive and diverse. If we all come at this from different angles and the way we see things and view things and work, by collectively leaning into the discomfort of the way someone else does it, we can learn. And then what's going to happen from there is we will be better off because of it. If everyone's of like-mindedness and we all get in the room and there's no one there to challenge the status quo, then are we really going to develop and grow as much as we could do? So in my mind, that's a long-winded way of saying, in my world, it's crazy not to have a very, very tight connection with what we call here development, alumni, and parent relations, because those are the people we as coaches and athletic personnel deal with all the time. And vice versa, it's crazy for them not to understand what happens in the athletic department. So just like we've broken down those walls and admissions, and the enrollment side for athletics, I think the same can be said here for institutional advancement services, and I think it's been of great benefit to us. And those presidents that have heard me talk about it, and several have, are always intrigued and interested. The difficulty is getting the people who actually run those areas on your campus to agree, because everybody gets a little nervous, and again, I understand that, but to be the highest level of effectiveness that you can be, I think it's a great idea.
Right. Well, excellent. And of course, you are stepping down in June to go out and lead what's called the Subiaco Academy out in Arkansas. And the question I have relative to that is, do you believe that everything you've learned and accomplished and done there at Gettysburg, how do you believe that will help you in your new role as, is it headmaster there at Subiaco?
Yeah, it is. It'll be a headmaster position, and it's everything we've just been talking about, right? That I think they found intriguing in my background and experience, and I bring a very unique portfolio to the position, which makes, I know it makes me very excited for the next chapter for myself, but I think it was also intriguing for the folks at Subiaco Academy, because I don't care who you are today. If you're a private educational institution, you want to market yourselves with a great value proposition. Why are you different? Why are you worth the money it's going to cost to go there? They're very interested in how to enroll a class, and get people to apply and have interest, and then how do you yield the best possible class that you can, and then from there, how do you fundraise? How do you get people to give back or give to, for the first time, an institution that has real purpose in the development of, in this case, it's an all-boys, Catholic boarding school. So, why is it important for you to consider donating to this institution who is working very hard to grow young men into extraordinary leaders and men who are going to lead lives of significance. So when I talk about how we're going to do that and why, I think it resonated with the Board of Trustees and the search committee there, and it's the things I've learned and that Gettysburg College has enabled me to do, and in their willingness to break down the barriers and the walls to be able to understand how all the pieces within the institution can come together for a high level of synergy and creating win-wins across the campus and amongst your various constituency groups. That to me is, we've got to start thinking differently in the world of private expensive education, and I speak that language, I think, and so I think that'll really help me in my next role at Subiaco Academy.
All right. Well, it sounds like you'll be very successful there, David, and it sounds like you'll be leaving Gettysburg College in good hands. I really appreciate you joining us on One Question today.
Well, thank you, Ty. I appreciate your vote of confidence, and thanks for your time as well. I enjoyed it.
That was David Wright. He's the Assistant Vice President. He's a Development Officer, and he's also Director of Athletics down at Gettysburg College. And he's moving on to become the headmaster at Subiaco Academy down in Arkansas. One thing that was unsaid in this conversation, but by the nature of what David has done there at Gettysburg, you can tell it was emphasized, and that's the lost art of accountability. As leaders, ask yourself, are you leaving things better than you found them? And of course, that fits into the overall philosophy that the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.